Hello and welcome to this episode of the Popcorn Wind Down. I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy.
Thank you for joining us this week as we will be discussing Netflix's hit show, Ginny and Georgia, which is about a single mom, Georgia Miller, who moves to a picturesque yet somewhat quirky New England town with her two children, 15-year-old Ginny and 9-year-old Austin, after the tragic death of her husband. The show has often been compared to the Gilmore Girls. Tammy, how do you feel about that comparison? My best interviewer voice.
Really? I mean, it's not. What was it called? It's not the Gilmore Girls.
It's definitely not the Gilmore Girls. I can see where some of the comparisons come from. The double G in the title, and the fact that the main characters are a mom, a teenage mom, or a former teenage mom, and her young daughter in a New England town. And I think that's probably about it. Maybe the motorcycle riding biological dad, the hot guy who runs the town diner. Is that where the comparisons will stop?
I just don't think there's any comparison whatsoever to the Gilmore Girls. A lot of times we try to find, I feel like they diminish Ginny and Georgia by comparing it to the Gilmore Girls. I understand the Gilmore Girls is a cult classic. Like, everybody loves the Gilmore Girls. But at the same time, it ain't Gilmore Girls time anymore. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, when I first saw the show, or read about it, that's what the title said. And I was like, oh, okay. And then based on the trailer, I couldn't really tell. And I'm like, all right. And then once the show came out, and after the first episode, I'm like, no, this definitely ain't the Gilmore Girls. But I agree with you. I think the comparison, for those who hated the Gilmore Girls, I think it would turn them off of Ginny and Georgia for just calling it that in itself. So, but overall, what did you think of the show?
I liked it. I thought the episodes were 30 minutes and then realized they were an hour. So I had to wrap my mind around that. So it wasn't like a quick, boom, boom, boom. But overall, it was actually a good show. Kept me interested. Kept me pissed off at teenagers. But it was good. I need to know who this Joe actor is though, because he was sexy as hell.
His name is Raymond Buck.
Love him. Gosh darn it, I loved him every time he came on the screen. I'd be like, oh, he looks so good.
Raymond Black.
Way better than Scott Porter, I'll tell you that much.
Okay, so we can start there. Who do you think is in game? Mayor Paul, or Diner Joe?
Mayor Paul.
You think he's in game?
Yeah. Well, technically, I think her end game is nobody, but she's too.
Why?
Because she's too jacked up as it is. She's been like that for too many years. What is it? She's 31, so for that long, she has been that jacked up. And the person who's gotten the closest to breaking her wall down was Zion, but he wouldn't give her the white picket fence that she's always wanted. But I think that ultimately she's gonna play them all, because she's gonna do what she needs to do to get what she wants. And whether it's Mayor Paul, whether it's Farmer Joe, it doesn't matter. I don't think anybody is necessarily her end game, but do I think she's gonna end up with someone? Yeah, I do. Will they actually be her end game? No, not at all, because no one will ever truly know Georgia.
I don't know. I kind of agree with that. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I think Paul. I like Joe. I don't know where I'm going with this. Okay, I like Joe. I do. And it's amazing when you go back and you see the connection to him and her, and how he's the whole reason ultimately she ends up moving to this one little town. Like a random conversation she had, I guess in TV time, it would have been maybe a random 5 to 10 minute conversation that she has with this kid when she's 16 years old or 15 years old, in a roadside gas station. And she basically kind of sort of plans her whole life out based on this conversation. Like she knew when she got to the point where she wanted to settle down and kind of have that white picket fence, she knew the town that she was going to pick. And it came from a conversation she had with Joe when they were kids and they didn't know each other. So that was really interesting to me. I don't know. I wonder why they never really acknowledged like that they knew who the other one was. Did you notice that?
Well, he didn't realize it until the sunglasses. Is when he didn't know who Georgia was until the sunglasses. Is when he realized who she actually was, and that she was the girl that also made a huge impact on his life. I mean, he named his horse exactly what she wanted to name her horse. I think she had inklings throughout, but I feel that she ignored it, partly because she didn't want to go there. She didn't want to go there, so she ignored the hints. But for him, he didn't realize it until the sunglasses with Ginny.
And then when he was going to say something is when he found out she was engaged.
And thank God he didn't say anything. Oh, goodness gracious, she would have destroyed him.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, I would love to see them together, but I think she would ultimately destroy him, and that would be so bad. And because he's just, I love him. I love his character. And, people are like, oh, he's Luke Danes. I hated Luke on Gilmore Girls. He was like my least favorite character.
Oh my God. I always thought Christopher was the person for Lorelai. I always felt it should have been Christopher and Lorelai till the end. I don't care what nobody says. It should not have been her and Luke.
No. And then just knowing the backstory behind those two and off screen, that made it even worse, where it's like, no, stop trying to force this. So I did not see it. Georgia and Joe, I love their friendship. I love the relationship that they have. If I knew in my heart that she wouldn't just fuck him up and destroy him, I would be all for it.
Me too.
I would love to see it. But going back to Mayor Paul, I have the sense that Mayor Paul is not as sweet and innocent as he seems. He has a dark side.
He's given so many hints at the fact of saying that he's just as bad as Georgia.
Yeah, like he has a dark side, and I'm glad you picked up on that too. Like he knows that she took the money and put it back. He didn't say anything. It's like, he barely flinched. The only reason he flinched about the gun is because it's like, dude, this happens in the middle of a campaign. Like, I think he sees them as kindred spirits. I don't know if he knows just how dark her past is.
But then I also feel like that shows that you're not really kindred spirits, because what you're going to do is you're going to entertain the worst parts of her, and she's not going to never realize it. But I think that with Georgia, she needs somebody who is going to bring out the part that she's always wanted to be. And Mayor Paul doesn't do that, because he's willing to allow...
Go ahead.
No, I was saying he's willing to allow her to be as bad and as destructive as she wants to be, and he'll just cover up her messes. Unlike, I feel, Zion has the ability, because they've been together for so long, that he can call her out without like it hitting her like he's trying to come after her kind of thing. So because they know each other so well, and they know that they love each other, but it'll never work because he'll never give her what she absolutely wants. And that's why I wish that it could have been Farmer Joe, because Farmer Joe can give her what she's always wanted, that white picket fence, a person who truly loves you, honestly loves you, and who makes you want to be a better person. I know that is so cliche. I know. But I feel like Farmer Joe would be the person to make her want to be a better person. while Paul is the one who'll be like, nah, be as badass as you want to be. Go ahead, have a gun in the house. Go ahead, slap your daughter across the face. It's okay. I understand.
Well,
I mean, granted, she deserved to slap across the face, but I'm just saying, like, she had to murder somebody in order to, survive. I understand why you had to murder him. Like, it's no like, well, do you think we had another way to go? Like, kind of thing. Like, but I feel like Farmer Joe would have genuinely loved the good parts of her. And Mayor Paul likes her devious nature, and that she'll get the shit done the way that it needs. She'll get shit done anyway that she needs to do it. And Joe will be the one like, nah, let's not go that way. Let's try another way. I don't know. I just feel that she'll never fall for that. And that's kind of sad because you could tell he really, really likes her. Even before he knew who she was, he really liked her.
I get the sense that she likes him and she knows who she is, but I also get the sense that she knows that I think she kind of has a feeling that she would end up jack him up. Yeah. So maybe Zion's her end game because he's like both of them.
Zion will never give her the white picket fence.
He wanted to. He was going to stay.
No.
He moved to Boston.
No, because okay, so here's how I realized like Zion would never have given her the white picket fence. And the reason why is because instead of him deciding to be in the house that she bought on her own, he bought an apartment in Boston. So first, you're going to take her white picket fence away from her because that's part of what the house represents, to move her and the family into an apartment in a major city. And that's the reason why he left, because he knows this is what she wants. She wants that quiet small town life, and he can't handle that quiet small town life. It'll stifle him. He'll feel like he's being strangled. That's why he wanted to move to a city rather than staying in the small town of, what was the name of the town? Westbury. So at the end of the day, like, Zion is the love of her life. I'll agree with you on that. But I don't think that he's her end game because he'll never want that quiet town white picket fence life that she absolutely wants. And she's fighting like hell to get.
Well, yeah. And I understand that, but yeah, we'll see. So I guess, I don't know, is it a love square since you have more than three? She has at least three suitors. I think we're going to see Austin's dad in season 2.
Well, yeah, seeing as how Jeannie with her stupid ass sent the address.
So we've seen how bad Georgia she knows how to pick some winners, and I guess it was out of necessity. The first dude, her first husband, who died under mysterious circumstances,
she killed him.
He accidentally OD'd when she gave him a little too much.
She killed him.
And she was slow to call 911 when she was 17. But so her first husband, that was out of necessity. Her second, she never married Austin's dad, did she?
I'm guessing she didn't, because how they talk about it is that her second husband was the other dude.
The yoga dude.
Yeah, the yoga dude. So I'm guessing she didn't marry Austin's dad.
Okay. So that's one thing, and I guess the flashbacks maybe for the second season. I love how the show does it though. I love how usually sometimes when shows do flashbacks, they don't make any sense, or they don't. I was like, oh gosh, what are these flashbacks going to represent? But I did love how it filled in the blanks to her past, to Georgia's past. So I love the way that they did the flashbacks and they used them in this show. And you really understood why she is the way that she is, not condoning the fact that she might be on her way to being a serial killer, or what we call her, a Black Widow. Like
Black Widow, but she had a reason for every single one that she did. I mean,
she did.
I know people, be like, oh, well, we shouldn't say that, but you know, minus like, you know, what I said earlier, where, you know, never thought about any other way. She did what she felt she had to do, and she was really young, like, because her first husband, how he basically held her hostage in the apartment once he got her, like, creepy as hell. Like, that can be very scary.
She never married Zion, and she basically she ran away when she was 13, 14?
From her home. Yeah, she was really young. Yeah,
she was really young. So we're gonna say she was about 13 or 14, and she met Zion, who is Ginny's dad, in a biker bar when she was 15. They fell in love, and she ended up getting pregnant. And it was like, okay, she almost had that white picket fence, and it said something to her. You felt for her when Zion's parents just wanted to take her child from her, and she was like, there's no way in hell she was going to let that happen. And then her first husband was like her boss, and the guy, he was both her boss, or was he just her landlord?
He was her boss. He let her stay in that apartment for free.
Okay, yeah. So he was her landlord / her boss. And then she was helping him run illegal poker games?
No, she was running the illegal poker.
She was running the illegal poker game. And and that just shows you how smart she was. She learned how to play poker just so she could run those games and make some money. And then when she got busted, he had been trying to seduce her. I guess that's what he was doing.
He was trying to get with her. He liked her. He wanted to get with her. So he was doing whatever she wanted him to do in order to one day get with her. And so when the opportunity came up for him to marry her, he did it.
Yeah, after she got busted at the poker game, and they threatened to take Ginny away, she had to marry him to keep her child and to stay out of juvie. Yeah. And then when you just saw, and I could only imagine the things that we didn't see, the hell that he put her through. But and then how he always held that over her, like, well, I'll just call these people and let them know. And it was just like, ugh. So look, I can't say that I would have done the same thing, but I understand why she did what she did. And then her second husband, he met an untimely death when she saw him filling up her 15-year-old daughter, her 14-year-old daughter. So
she killed him.
The official cause of death was a heart attack.
Let's be honest, she killed him. He was filling up Ginny, and he saw, she had flashbacks because that's how she grew up, being felt up by her stepdad. So she killed him, gave him a heart attack, made him die, and then ran away with her 2 kids to a quaint little town,
and all the money
in Massachusetts,
and all the money. But so yeah, I can only imagine what Austin's dad is, and I guess that's the backstory that we're waiting on. You kind of get the idea that he was a bad person because she didn't want him to know where they were. And I guess, was he the guy that she set up? She said one of her boyfriends or one of her husbands.
Yeah, she set him up for embezzlement. So I'm guessing, you wouldn't want him to know where you are, seeing as how you got him arrested for embezzlement, and it was you who embezzled the money.
And so was he husband number 2 or the? I can't remember.
I don't know. They didn't mention it. They said her second husband was the other yoga dude. So I guess we'll find out in season 2 if they get a season 2.
And but so that takes us with Georgia, and I love Georgia. Georgia was a G. She was fucked up, but she was a G. Like,
you loved her because she was fucked up, but she had a reason for every single thing that she did. And I think being an adult, you understand it better.
Life is not so black and white.
Yes, and the fact of saying that she hid everything, she hid her whole past. The only one who knew a lot of her past was Zion, and he didn't know anything about Austin's dad or the stepdad and what happened to him and everything like that, what happened in New Orleans when she was down there. And he's the one who knows her the best. So, I mean, he knows her. But, like, she she was a survivor. And what she said in the end, like I think it was the last episode, where she basically said everything that she did was so that her kids didn't have to go through what she went through, and they would actually have a chance, because she was a very, very smart person. And the fact that even as smart as she was dealt such a bad hand in life, that she was expected to never be anything, and she didn't want that for her kids.
So, that which takes us to her pride and joy, Virginia. I loved how she named her kids after wherever they were born, and I guess she just picked the name. Like, she even changed her name from the state that she was in when she met Joe, and maybe that's where that came from, like, to represent her new beginning. But so Ginny was born in Virginia, and that was her full name, Virginia. And oh gosh, that child, she needed an ass whooping.
A full-on black mama ass whooping. Like, she needed a black mama moment.
Thank you. Even for teen or a country mama moment, because we know Georgia had it in her, like you said. Even for teenage shows, and even for that teenage melodrama. Oh my gosh!
But granted, that's the reason why she had such shitty friends that she had, because they were all like that. They all needed ass whoopings. They all needed asses kicked. The only difference was all of them was white.
The only one, she did have shitty friends, and the only one of her friends that I thought was true to her character all the way through was Abby. Abby was a bitch from beginning to end, unapologetically. The girl who taped her thighs, whose parents were getting divorced, she was just
as fucked up as the rest of them.
Yeah, they all have their issues. Don't get me wrong, but Abby was straightforward about who she was from beginning to end. Like, she never changed.
But I think they were all very straightforward about who they were from beginning to end. Max was very self-involved, and she was self-involved from when they first met all the way up until the last episode, where she never ever took anybody else's lives or feelings into consideration in how she reacted to things. I forgot what the other chick, the adopted girl name was.
Nora?
Huh? Nora. I think they were all very true to themselves. Abby was a bitch, yes, and she was a bitch from beginning to end. But Nora was a little bit of a goody girl who was in a long-term relationship. Like, they all were very true to themselves until the very, very end. Like, it's like, even the boys, which once I finished watching the show, I realized I couldn't stand none of those teenagers. None. The only ones that I actually started to take notice is I love Sophie. And Brasia. And when Brasia brought her over to her friends, like, girl, you black, right? Like, you will never truly be one of them, right? She didn't get that at all. I guess because she grew up with Georgia, and her dad didn't really instill that in her, but that girl did not she did not get it at all.
I don't even think that it was that she grew up with Georgia. I think that, she did know she was black. I think it was just a different.
She didn't have the black. She knew her black skin, and she knew her black hair, and that was it. Like, when she brought out, like, the whole black experience, like, did you really? Because at the end of the day, she brought up her race when, like, it was spurt, and I don't know if it was the writing of the show on, like, it was controversial, right? So, like, whenever something happened, be like, you think it's because I'm black? But then when your friends treat you a certain way, you don't question that?
And
you let them comb your hair. They brushed your hair. Like, what?
And I think that is, I want to say it was part of the writing, but you also get that she knew, because Georgia was pissed. Georgia's like, not to ever let anybody touch your hair. And that was that black mom. That was that black mom moment. It was like, even the white mom gets it. And then when she just randomly, I think after that fight she had to fit in or something, she straightened her hair. It's not the fact that you straightened your hair, but it's why you did it.
Why you straightened your hair? To fit in.
Yeah. And Georgia was like, but I love your natural hair. So, I can't say it was because of her mom. I think she ignored a lot of it to try to fit in, like the shit she wouldn't normally ignore. And maybe it's because, as she stated, they moved around so much. This was the first group of quote unquote, and I'm putting it in air quotes, of friends,
large air
that
quotes,
that she's ever had. But they were shitty friends. And I loved when Marcus called her out, his sister out. And for them to be twins, it's like, you wouldn't think they were twins because they fucking hated each other.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and then you realize that the only reason why he took care of her when she was drunk is because Ginny was there. And because Ginny was going to have to take care of her and get her into bed and everything like that, he took over in order to say, but if it was by Max by herself who showed up drunk, he wouldn't have given two fucks if their mom had found out that she had gotten home drunk. And that's what you realize. Like, there was no emotions whatsoever, because even when he calls you out and talks about the boundaries, and also calls out the fact that your girlfriend broke up with you 6 months before she goes away to college. And instead of you actually like listening to that, you throw your brother under the bus. Like, full on throw him under the bus. Why? Because they didn't tell you that they fucked around a couple times? Really?
And
okay.
And then when he was like, it happened even before. Now, the one thing I did, like, it happened before like, she met Marcus before she met Max. And she didn't know they were brother and sister. And then once you meet them, it's like, oh fuck, and y'all are twins and y'all act like this. And just the way, I get why she didn't say anything. But I'm having a hard time. I don't like any of the friends. I don't.
And there was nothing forgiving or likable about any of them. And what also throws me off is the fact of saying that I loved Hunter. I thought Hunter was a really, like, just a great guy. Like, he was a real sweetheart. Now, granted, he also had some race issues, but he understood what he was doing. Like, he was gonna go along to get along kind of thing, and ultimately that's gonna hit him real hard when he goes to college. But let him go to college and find that out. But like, except for him, like, the whole circle was shitty. Oh wait, and Nora's boyfriend was like, he was a little like cool. I think it's Jordan. I think his name is Jordan. He was barely there though. But Brody was a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Like, he was the worst. He was the worst. And I was just like, is it because y'all grew up together and so y'all have just stuck it out as long as you have? I guess because Hunter did say that the reason why they were friends is because they stuck with him when he was on Adderall. That's because you was fucking drugged out of your mind. Like, of course they stuck with you. They're probably high at the same time you was on Adderall. Like, I couldn't. Like, I could not. And the fact that instead of her maybe seeing like who her peoples were going to be, and granted, she does have attachment issues because she never had a group of friends, but she never once truly gave Brazia and her group of friends a chance. Like, never once did she give them a chance or see, like, how is it on the other side? Nah, I'm just going to stick with these white people over here who touch my hair and say they don't know if they have makeup that fits my skin, even though one of you is darker than I am. Like, yeah, the whole thing just pissed me off.
Yeah. And, I mean, granted, thinking back to how ignorant we were at 15, 16, and
you
not
keep saying that, but
no.
I think it's very cliche in how no. Like, I'll be honest and say, like, this is kind of making it seem like all teenagers, like, I don't remember that bullshit. Like, I remember my group of friends, ride or die. And my group of friends were the ones who could tell me when I was being an absolute bitch, because there were moments where I was being an absolute bitch, would call me out. Now, maybe they wouldn't know my deepness and emotional stuff that I went through, definitely, because sometimes you do keep that to yourself. But it's the group, like, it was just too cliche. It's too cliche. And being around teenagers and remembering how I was as a teenager, like, no, I don't think that is commonplace for how teenagers are. Maybe rich, privileged teenagers, yes, maybe. I've never had rich, privileged friends, but for everyday teenagers, no, I don't believe it.
For some, I think so. Like, I think, and like
for
I said,
some, but not for most. Where every single character that you see nowadays is those people. Like, I don't. Come on, can we get some realistic, like, real teenage friendships that are really out there? Because this cliche stuff that they keep throwing out in these shows, like, do they want us to hate teenagers? Because that's what I'm doing right now.
Well, I can say that to a certain extent, I agree with you. And to another extent, I understand why she was ride or die with her friends, or her air quote friends, because they really sucked as friends. But I remember my group of friends at 15, 16, and how I was the outsider. And looking back, I put up with a lot of shit that I wouldn't have put up with today, just from not wanting to be without my friends, or putting up with people who I thought were friends and they weren't, so I could relate to some of the shit that she did, that she went through. Not necessarily the hair combing, because they were black, but just some of the other bullshit that they went through. So from that standpoint, but not having one redeemable friend, no, because I had my one out of the group. I had the one person that I gravitated to who was my best friend. So it just, that to me, I didn't understand. Like, for Max to be, and maybe for Max to quote unquote be your best friend, and for her to be so unbelievably selfish, and for you to keep jumping through hoops for this one person, because the person who actually was her best friend, if you want to be honest Marcus. About it, was Marcus. He even, and yes, Hunter was a great guy. Hunter was great.
He was a great boyfriend, but he wasn't a best friend. He wasn't a friend, though. He was a boyfriend. There's a difference.
He wasn't a friend. Yeah. He was a boyfriend, exactly. But, well, and before you get to the point where your boyfriend should kind of be like your best friend, but I understand where they are. But Marcus was, and Hunter wasn't the guy. Marcus was the one who she could undoubtedly just be herself around, and he was her best friend. And I think, like, when I found out that you went and told your mom about something I told you, like, she didn't even care that her friends threw her under the bus with the gun thing. It's like, dude.
It definitely hit her. But, like, I feel that is where she shows the skills of being her mother's daughter, because you saw her face. I don't know if you saw it, but her face when she first realized that Nora told her mom, and then she did a full 180, and then all of a sudden she just started smiling. That was creepy, because I was just like, yo, are you plotting murder right now? Like,
but it's like,
she knew that she betrayed her, but her whole thing was, I've never, like you said, she'd never had friends before, and she was willing to put up with a lot in order to keep these friends. A lot to keep these friends. I still don't understand why I don't understand Max's deal with the whole Marcus thing. Like, I don't, like, I thought it was going to be deeper. I thought it was going to find out something deeper about, Marcus and his best friend, which I thought was a dropped story. Because it was like, you knew that he went through a hard time and everything like that, but I felt they could have went deeper on that. So you mean to tell me, like, your sister wasn't there for you at all through that? And your parents just kind of let you, like, flow on your own? So, like, nobody was there for you when... So that threw me off. I was just like, whoa, like, oh, shit. Like, so when they found out that... what's her name? When Ginny was messing around with Marcus... And then Ginny, like, called out Abby because she thought Abby told on her. And they, like, just turned their backs on Abby. And I was just like, really? I said, that's some privileged white shit. I don't, like, you know what? Let me not say that. I apologize. That's not privileged white shit, because it happens everywhere and in every race. But my thought process was, that is some superficial shit.
Yeah,
So superficial.
Like that's one thing I hope they talk about is I want to know what happened, because first of all, you hear about the twin bond and you've seen it, and I understand that you're siblings, so you're not going to get along all the time.
But not even your twin, though?
Thank you. Even if you weren't twins, I would not expect you to be as horrible to each other as they are. So it's like, what happened between them? And, you know, their mom, she's a little oblivious to stuff. So it's just, although I did love her mom. Her mom was amazing.
I like her mom and her dad.
Yeah. I loved their parents. They were great. And her mom was like, wine time. I need wine. The fight that she had with Georgia about Georgia not telling her about the kids, I understood both sides of it. I really did. Georgia, so, you know, I really hope that they make up, because you kind of get the sense that that's the first time that's the first real friend Georgia has had too, you know, even though, she doesn't know. And I'm sure if she found out everything there was to know about Georgia, she would have a fit. But, you know, I did like their friendship, so I hope that they can make up. But I understood both sides of that. I understood why Georgia didn't say anything, and I understand why the mom didn't say anything.
Why I'm on the mom side, not Georgia's side with that one. Because Georgia is very in tune to how teenagers really are, and when you found out, I think it would have went a long way on her just mentioning it, on basically teaching her, like, you know, this is how teenagers really are, because she has a very pretty up viewpoint of her teenagers, that they're great because Max is in top classes and she's in all these AP classes. So you never think of the fact of like, oh, my kids do drugs and they drink all the time and this and that. And yeah, no, I think that she could have mentioned it. I understand why she didn't mention it, but I'm on the side of that you should have at least talked to your friend, the one friend you did have in town, and let her know what was going on, you know, rather than just keeping it to yourself.
Yeah, like I said, I understood both sides of it. I understand both arguments. So I understand why she didn't say anything. I understand why the mom, her name is Ellen Baker. I understand why Ellen was upset that she didn't say anything. So as a responsible parent, though, I think that she probably should have mentioned it with you, but I understand why she didn't. What about, I was going to ask something and I forgot what it was. Okay. So Ginny and Georgia, the two people, the one relationship we haven't really talked about. I would have, when Georgia slapped Ginny, I felt that and I understood it, and I said it's about time and she needs more of it. I'm sorry. I know the people, I don't have kids, so no one can call the people on me, but I'm with you. Ginny needed a good old-fashioned black ass whooping. Several of them.
She did. She was an asshole. I mean, granted, her childhood was fucked up, and I definitely get that. And she was way more protected than she realized she was. So yeah, and to think that knowing who your mom is, I mean, because it's been you and your mom for a long time, even with Austin there, like it's you and your mom against the world. And so I feel that, how did you not know that everything that your mom did was for a reason? You know, like Ginny don't have no ride or die mentality. Like if that like explains it all. Like I feel she ain't ride or die. And that's the reason why maybe she fell into the friends that she did. Because she ain't got no loyalty. She ain't got no loyalty and she ain't ride or die. That's why she was willing to throw her mother under the bus anytime she wanted to. Yeah. Like, I felt bad for Georgia on a lot of those moments.
Yeah, like part of it is, okay, is this now that's the one thing I didn't get. That whole horrible teenage angsty, I hate my parents. We all went through that phase where we didn't agree with our parents and we thought we were know-it-alls and stuff like that. But I know there's some stuff about my mom's past that I don't know, that I don't want to know. That's none of my business, that I don't need to know. And it's like, respect the boundaries, because the whole thing about her grandparents, when found out that your mom's parents didn't actually die or weren't dead the way she told you they were. But if instead of being just all upset about, oh, you're a liar, blah, 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 why not ask her, well, Mom, why didn't you tell me about this? Or think about it. If someone's going to tell you that their parents are dead and they aren't, then that means that there was 9 times out of 10, some pretty fucked up shit happened. And that's probably for the best, that you never met these people.
And as smart as she was, there is no way that she couldn't have made that connection, that there is a reason why my mother never told me about her parents.
Thank you. So when your trashy, drugged out thieving aunt who comes to town, and basically co-signs and tells you, now Georgia and her sister barely agreed on anything, but they both agreed that their parents are horrible people and you're better off not knowing them. So when your aunt tells you that, okay, you might want to think, hey. Then when your dad also comes to town and tells you the same thing, it's like, oh, well, she had her reasons. Maybe these are not the people. And when you finally listen and let her tell you they're not good people, it's like, okay, so you can't let that go. You're still throwing it up in her face that she kept you away from these horrible people. And that was one thing. And then when the guy came and he basically told your mom, okay, when you think about it, yeah, it might not be too far-fetched, but at least they did get rid of the wolf's bane before they left. I don't know if that's to protect her or to keep her from killing somebody else, but
one or the other, but it did its job, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, so where are you going? Are you going to Boston to be with your dad? Like, what the heck? I think for her to say that she wanted to be an adult and be so mature, because she was so fucking immature. Off
I was at the fact of saying, you want to go run away on your own? You go right ahead.
But don't take your brother.
How dare you take your 9-year-old brother with you? How dare you? You stole from your mom. So you say your mom's a bad person. You don't know who she is. But you stole from her. You stole the bike from Marcus. Okay? And then you took your 9-year-old brother with you? And you know she's not going to her father. She's not going to her father. Why do I feel like she's going to end up down there in Alabama or wherever her mama from, trying to find out who her grandparents are? She's going to do some crazy shit like that. So you want to be treated like an adult, but then you act like a child. Like, and that's why when she got arrested for drinking drunk, when she lied to her mom, after her mom did that whole great thing for her birthday, because I thought that was fantastic what her mom did. And to think that all of her friends were actually down with this whole thing that her mom had planned out. They thought it was really cool what her mom did. And then you decide, because you're mad at your mom, you're going to throw all of that away and go get drunk in your friend's basement, get arrested. I'd have left her in jail as well. I was mad when Paul got her out. I'd have left her there in jail. Let you stew with the rest of them.
But Paul, I think, and that's one of the reasons I think Paul did that for brownie points. And I also think he did that because by that time it was coming out that he and Georgia were had it already been exposed that they were in a relationship?
No.
So I think, but I think he did it not just for PR moves. I think he did it for brownie points, but I also think he did it because he didn't want it to be used against him in the campaign. So, like I said, I'm interested to see what Paul's dark side is, because there were way too many hints dropped that he's not Mr. All-American Abercrombie and Fitch or whatever. He
to be honest,
paints himself out to be.
Let me tell you a secret. I don't care about Paul. Like he was like, besides the friends, I have no interest in knowing what Paul's secrets are. Like, overall, he's a bad character, and I feel like whatever secrets he has is gonna be very cliche secrets. Like, it's gonna be like, oh, that's what it is. Oh, okay, cool. And moving on, like and that's another reason why, like, I feel like he's very cliche character. I'm using that word a lot right here, but I don't care about Paul. He never interests me from the very beginning. Like, you knew she was gonna end up with him. You knew it because he's that all-American guy next door kind of look. So that was the one that she was gonna ultimately go after. But he's not an interesting character. He was very boring from beginning until the very end. And I'm not interested to see them try to spice him up in season 2 at all.
I think, and see, that is it though. I think that was on purpose, because there were hints where I got, just when he was talking, I forgot which conversation, but it was a conversation he had with her where it was just about the way he proposed to her, the way he was so pragmatic about it. It was like, oh, okay, yeah, you're not who we think you are. Like, and when she stole the money, it's like he knew. You could see in his face that he knew. It wasn't like his campaign manager, his best friend knew, but he knew. And it's like he really didn't have a problem with this. Like, okay, you did not get caught. The money was put back. There's nothing that she can hold over me. So I think it was just the subtle hints that he has a dark side too. So I could actually see him being number 3 on her hit list, but that's just me. Maybe that's me hoping that they do something to spice him up, because I agree, he did seem truly, truly boring, but I just also got the feeling that there's more to him than meets the eye. And it's going to be interesting to how he reacts when he does find out, because I think he will find out at least about Yoga husband number 2. I think the PI is going to make sure of that, especially now that she has the money and there's nothing that they can do about it. I guess the only way to void the will now would be if it came out that she actually murdered him. But with the plant being gone, I don't know.
Yeah. So can we talk about the English teacher and his racist tendencies?
Oh God! See, I'd forgotten about.
Well, no. Like the whole, I mean, they didn't really get into it, and I do feel that they used it as a trope throughout the show a lot, where it was brought up just to kind of hit a point, and then it was forgotten again. And I'm talking about, race. But when she first shows up, and he basically acts like. He acts like she just wouldn't be smart enough to be able to keep up in his class. And I'm just like, why would they put her in AP English if she wasn't smart enough to keep up in your class? But okay. And then when she blackmails him into signing a recommendation letter for her, I was just like, yes.
Oh, that's when she showed she was her mother's daughter.
Yes. I was like, that is fantastic. And then she calls him out on everything, like, why am I the only one that you think would have an issue with the N-word, and everything else. And I was just like, he was just like, I voted for Obama twice. And I was like, didn't Bray just say that? Yeah. Bray just said that he's gonna be like, I voted for Obama twice, so of course I can't be racist.
Yeah, that's that liberal racism that we love to talk about. Or as we call it, what do we call it here in Texas? That Austin racism. But so yeah, he now, to me, he was the one that was cliche, and I agree with you. I want to know, do they have any Black writers on the show? And
they do, because it was the 2 Black writers that wrote about I think one of them was half Black, they're mixed, but wrote the conversation, what is it, Oppression Olympics or something like that, whatever they called it in the argument.
Oh yeah, the Oppression Olympics.
So they did have Black writers, but so I'll be honest and say,
well, they need to give them.
I've actually encountered that Austin racism. So not in high school, because I went to predominantly Black and brown high school, but he's not, like, I guess he's not as cliche as you think, on him reacting that way, where you kind of say it without really directly saying it, depending on who's in the room. Like, that really does happen in the Northeast, because that's the underlying racism that they think they're too good for.
Oh no, trust me, I know. Hell, living here in Texas and in red Houston, I'm sorry, in blue Houston, you encountered it, and going to that diverse high school and growing up in middle class white neighborhoods, I've encountered it my whole life. So, but I guess what I meant when I said cliche, I think their whole, how do I say this? The whole approach to race, and I know you're trying, I don't know if they're trying to be subtle, but I think it's too many times where they drop the ball.
Yes.
Like, so I guess that's what I'm saying, is their approach to the whole race thing is cliche. She's a mixed, she's a half, she's mixed. She's a mixed race child. So we know that she's going to have a heart. It's not going to be as blatant with her as it is, but in the times that she's going to face it, she's going to face it, so I guess, I don't know, I just want them to actually approach the issue head on and show us the ways that she's going to have to deal with it, if that's making any sense. So their whole approach to it was cliche, and I get him thinking he's not racist because he voted for Obama, but yet then coming out and saying he's just not so subtle racist things, especially directed at her, when, okay, damn well that her essay, because although it didn't fit your exact mode of what you thought an essay should be, you gave it to Hunter Chin, and I got the feeling, just because of his relationship with her, if she written the essay exactly as you wanted it to, in traditional format, you still would have given it to Hunter.
Well, you remember, how you know that is, you remember that first quiz that they took, and he said only one person got a perfect score, and then when he gives her quiz, you find out that she also got a perfect score, that it wasn't just Hunter, but she also got 100 on the pop quiz that he gave out. So he just wasn't going to give it to her. That she didn't
have to take?
Yeah, that she didn't have to take, because, he just knew that she'd never, ever read the book before a day in her life. So you definitely knew that it was because it was her, not her essay. That was the issue. Also because Hunter colored in the lines, if that makes sense. He played the game very, very well. He knew what he had to do. Hunter had that double consciousness on lock. Okay, absolutely on lock. So much that I don't even feel it was double consciousness anymore, because nothing, the only thing. Okay, I guess let me not say this, because I was about to say the only thing Asian about him was his last name and the fact that you could tell he was mixed with something, but nothing else. He had, I felt like there was no other real connection to his Asian side, except for when he talked about, how he has to register for the military at 19 or give up his citizenship. Dude, give up your citizenship. It's not like you're ever gonna live in Taiwan anyway. That's just me. And I was just dude, that's not a real issue, seeing as how you can still visit Taiwan even if you're not a citizen. Give up your citizenship. I'm sorry. Do it.
And you kind of get the sense that when his dad was he was more impressed with her for knowing Korean, yet none of his kids knew Mandarin, their native tongue, so it's just okay. But, and I get what they were saying, and so I guess that's my thing, is I want them to do a better job with the race issue. Don't pick it up in starts and stops. I know every encounter you have is not going to be filled with racism, but in
a predominantly privileged small town in Massachusetts, away from the big city, which also has their issues, but not talking about that. Yes, you'll have more encounters of what do you call it when it's not in your face? Is it just subtle? Subtle. So it'd be subtle instances of racism that you're going to experience way more in smaller towns than you would in the big city. Because in the big city, you can find people who look like you and who have the same experiences as you, or who have very similar experiences that you can connect to, even as so you can toe the line on both sides more regularly. But I think living in Westbury, that wasn't the case. Like, all of Hunter had no Asian friends.
And because there probably weren't a lot of other Asians there, and that's the thing. I was going to say this, going back to you. Do you get the feelings that they only let the writers of color write the issue, the argument with her and Hunter, and then the few lines with her and Brazia?
What do you mean?
Like, I don't know. I was just. I don't know. I just want them to do a better job.
I'm trying to understand what you're trying to say, though.
Because those seem to be the most real moments that they had when talking about the subject.
Oh, yes. Yeah, no, definitely. And it was
like, as fleeting as they were, those
it was the most realistic.
Yeah. And even dealing with Zion's parents, who were a different, they were high class, they were rich, they had money. I get all of that. But it's just, I need them to do more with addressing her black side. Like,
because Zion didn't even, like, there was no I didn't get the feeling like Zion had even I want to say teach, because that's basically what we have to do with our kids, is teaching them about what it means to be black in America. And I feel like Zion did not have that instance where he taught, and maybe it's partly because he had
wasn't
such a
around.
privilege. Yeah, and he also had such a privileged upbringing, because she met him in a biker bar. Come on now, a black dude in a biker bar.
During his gap year.
During his gap year. So the privilege kind of closed his mind to, his privilege kind of closed his mind to other aspects, because no one ever he doesn't address, which I think he would be the parent that would need to address this. He never addresses the struggle that his daughter may go through, being that she's half black, half white, but she looks black.
Well, and I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, because we barely met him, and when we did, he was more or less trying to be the cool dad, or just being the dad, or him and Georgia were doing their thing. So I get that, but I think I would like to see him stick around, not necessarily for him and Georgia to be there, but to see how he helps co-parent, because Westbury, this town, is supposed to be a suburb of Boston, or not too far from Boston. So, as an adult traveling the world, a black man traveling the world, he's ran into racism. So even if his privilege sheltered him from a lot of that growing up, as an adult, he's experienced it. So those are the things I would want them to address in the second season as far as that goes. Secondly, I hope that Marcus, I think, is her end game. So who do you think is end game for her? Marcus or Hunter for Ginny?
Oh, it's not Hunter. Like, no, not at all. She needs somebody who is going to be real with her. And I think it will be more Marcus. I think Marcus is her Zion. On the fact of saying that he's going to call her out on her nonsense, but also let her be her. Because when he finds out that she hurts herself, and he's having that conversation where he tells her, like, he didn't mean it by saying that they were a mistake. He was trying to help her out with her friends. And he says, because I don't want you to go and hurt yourself. Like, he hesitates, but he still says it, letting her know, like, I know I know this would be a trigger for you, and I don't want this to trigger you into doing what I saw you doing the last time that, you had a triggering moment. So I think that it would be Marcus, just because he would be the one to actually, like, fully call her out and keep her sane, compared to Hunter, because Hunter didn't know what the fuck was going on with her this whole season.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, he was
such a cutie, but he ain't know nothing.
He was a cutie, but Hunter was the one that was she liked him, but he was the one that was socially acceptable. Like, I think she did have feelings for Hunter, but Hunter would have been more or less like her friend, like her really good friend. Now,
granted, I would love it, and I guess this would be an unpopular opinion, I would love it that they could talk that out and become friends, because I think her and Hunter as friends would be great for both of them, compared to the fucked up friendships that they already have.
I think so too. And I think that's part of the reason why they gravitate towards each other is because, oh gosh, look, another person of color, someone who actually gets it.
Yeah, and who I can look to when nonsense goes on. I can look to that person and be like, and just silently just be like, yes, I'm annoyed too. But go back to just accepting the nonsense of the white people around them.
Yeah. So I think her and Hunter would be better friends than they are boyfriend and girlfriend. Okay, so second season or no?
Yes. Yes. Definitely second season. I'd like to see where they go with all of the characters except for Mayor Paul. Oh, wait, my bad. Mayor Paul. You know what? No, just Mayor Paul, because I think that her friends can have I would love to see her friends have a rude awakening in season 2. All around have a rude awakening, because we never talk about the fact that Nora is also a person of color, and she acts like she's a white girl rolling up in that town. So yeah.
I agree. Season 2, definitely. And I told you the major things I wanted to see them address, and I'm interested to see where they go with all the other threads they left dangling. And when they find her, she needs to have her ass beat for running away and taking my child. Basically kidnapping. You ran away, but you kidnapped my child.
I'm sending the cops after her.
Yeah. So Georgia's going to explode when she finds out. So what would you rate the first season?
I want to say like a solid 3.
You gave it a 3. Wow. I thought it was
I want to say like a 2 point. I really want to say like a 2.5. You know what? I'm rolling down. I'm gonna say a 2.5 because I think that they dropped a lot of good storylines that were there, and I think it has to do with the writing room, with the people that are writing the series, that you can't touch on topics that you know nothing about, or that you're oblivious to. So yeah, definitely. But so 2.5. I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it, but there was a lot of dropped storylines and dropped themes that could have went somewhere else. And then also the teenagers really irked my soul. What about you?
I'm going to give it a solid. I'm going to give it a 3.75. I enjoyed it more than you did, but
I'm sorry. Go ahead. My bad.
I would have gone up higher, but that is because of a lot of the drop storylines, and her friends. What?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Her friends, they drove me crazy. So, based on that alone, and once I think about it, I am going to take that down a notch to a 3.5. So I'm going to give it 3.5 stars because I did not like her friends. Normally, I can find, me, when we talk about it, I'll find something redeeming about the friends, but no. So I cannot do that. 3.5, but also I do want to see a second season, and I hope that they improve on some things. And our average rating is a 3 popcorns. Are you Hello? You're silent.
I can't get over the 3.75, but okay.
I said 3.5. I took it down.
Oh, my bad.
3.5.
3.5. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, 3.5. They didn't irk me as much as they irked you, and you gave it a 50, but you want to see it, 50%. You on that Texas passing rate. Okay,
that ain't funny.
So. Yeah, she laughed anyway. She had to think about it.
No, you know what I was thinking? I said 50 is social studies, but for math is a 42.
So, for that doesn't see, and she was also cussing me out when she was like, "That's not funny," but it is.
Okay. It is funny.
So that does it for this episode of the Popcorn Wind Down. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to check us out daily on the popcornwinddown.com. That's our plug. Pop, pop, pop. That's our horrible sound effect. Hopefully I will get one soon. In the meantime, be sure to join us next week where we discuss uncanny counters. And until then, I'm Eddie.
And I'm